And welcome to this edition of Beef Tips and Gravy. I'm John Houston, Director of Business Services for ProTrition Feed. We're excited today to be at Williams Farm and Forage here in the big metropolis of Cedar Hill, Tennessee. I'm also excited to have with us today Todd Steen, who is our ruminant nutritionist for ProTrition Feed. We're glad that he's with us once again to talk about brood cow management, Todd. And so as we're out here amongst the cows, just tell me just a little bit coming into spring about how we need to be taking care of these cows coming into spring. A lot of people are calving, some have already calved. What kind of things do we need to be concerned about this time of the year with our brood cows?
Well, the Williams farm obviously has some pretty nice cows out here, and you can see that his forage is looking pretty good as the green up has come on this spring. The main thing that we want to look at, as you can tell with these cows in the background here, they are spring calving cows. So he's already calved, and if you'll notice, he's got the cows in pretty good shape, and chances are he probably has at least exposed them, and they may very well be already be bred. So that's a good thing at this particular point in time through their life cycle. The main thing that we want to look at with big old nice cows like this, nursing calves like that, and in the reproductive cycle to be bred back, is to make sure that our body condition on the cows are still good. It's energy management on the cows because we want to keep them in good shape. We don't want them fat, we don't want them thin. And forage program is going to be the best way to get that, to start with the base ration. And as you can see, this good grass here, at this time here in the spring time, with the cows in good shape like they are right now, we'll want to make sure that our mineral program is good. Probably needs still be on our high mag mineral because you can see this lush pasture, it's growing real good, and the possibility of exposure to grass tetany is still existing, and so we'll want to keep that magnesium going for at least for a little while longer. The cows in and of themselves are still going to be milking fairly heavy, so this good lush grass will be good for them. It'll provide good energy for them, and to keep the lactation cycle going and the reproductive cycle going. Like I said, I hope they probably have already been exposed, and chances are probably already bred back on these cows. So as we go on into later spring and into summer, we'll want to make sure that our mineral program is still there. We can probably loosen up at that point, loosen up a little on the high mag mineral. But one of the things that we might suggest would be some fly control. And hopefully he's already got fly control already added to his high mag mineral right now, and we can just keep right on going on into summer.
So Todd, if you talk about, just to expand a little bit more on the mineral supplementation, as we think about the normal forage in Tennessee being fescue grass and what cows are on this time of the year, and we think about some of the antagonists that exist in Tennessee, and keeping cows, cycling and keeping cows, we think about some things like field programming and some things like that, but we, in particular from an antagonist and an organic versus inorganic sources of mineral, just hit just a little bit about some of the differences there, in particular with getting these cows bred back and cycling and keeping that fetus in good shape until we can get that live calf on the ground.
Well, we are in the northern counties of Middle Tennessee, and typical pastures in this particular area here do have antagonists, particularly the sulfur content. We've seen a lot of forage assays come off in this area of Tennessee that could be as much as 0.4, even as much as 0.5% sulfur. When you get into those type of levels like that, the antagonist aspect of supplementation to the animal is going to play a very large role. we generally always think copper. Copper will be the first thing that that sulfur will tie up. Now, as you can see, these cows look pretty good, and we don't see a lot of faded coats on any of these cows. So we would certainly would want to think that that supplementation is taken care of. Now, as far as what are we going to do about it with these sulfur levels? One of the things that we look at, particularly with what we have to deal with here in the state, is we want to counter that. So we don't want to necessarily have all of our supplementation all in one area. So having a nice blend of an inorganic as well as an organic does go a long way for us. And think of it like this: the inorganic and the organic, where the absorption capabilities is going to be within the animal, with those two sources, you can think of it as the antagonist. That one of the sources will be tying up the antagonist, which will allow the other source to be absorbed and to get into the bloodstream and to do the great things that we want that supplementation to do. So having a combination, and in the relationship that we want it to with our trace minerals, as well as our major mineral, calcium, phosphorus, all that's going to be very important, particularly with this good grass that we've got here, and with the potential antagonists that's going to be associated in this area.
So Todd, let's shift gears just a little bit here. We're coming into spring here. It's a little cool today, obviously, as you can tell by me wearing a jacket. But you know, let's shift gears just a little bit and think about the fall calves and going through the winter and how we need to take care of that cow in particular. You know, a lot of people talk tubs or cubes or liquid or whatever. Tell us really what we're looking at doing to carry these cows through the winter, especially if our nursing calves where they've calved in the fall.
Right. Of course, at that particular time, our pastures are potentially are dormant. We're supplementing hay, and so another source of supplementation for energy content and protein for the animal is going to be important. At this time, the cow would have come through the winter, probably nursing a little bit. We're getting down there towards probably climbing into her last trimester before she starts to calve. So one of the good things about that is that if our cows did come through the winter, maybe a little bit on the thin side, we've got the good forage to carry her through the spring, to get her through into summer, to build back up for that last trimester and getting her ready for the lactation cycle to begin. Now, as far as coming through the winter with a tub, with cubes, some other type of supplemental feed stuff, that's going to be dependent upon our forage quality, what kind of hay quality that we're going to have access to, what we have harvested. The better the quality of our forage is, the less we have to worry and rely on some type of a supplementation. We know that tubs are very popular in this area from an overall labor managerial perspective, but if we have the good forage, if we've got good hay supplies, and our energy management on our animals are good, maybe we don't have to rely so heavily on that type of supplementation. If that's not the case, if our forage quality is a little less than perhaps what we wanted, then those are options. We'll want to make sure that we've got energy content, because the energy is what's going to drive the boat, keeping good body weight on. And then when we get into calving season, later summer into fall, we get into calving, that's when we initiate our lactation. And remember now, after we've calved and after we end that lactation, the animal still has to be nutrient satisfied to be able to breed back, so we continue to maintain that calf on a year or a 12-month basis. So it's very important to keep the body condition, keep our energy management on our animals good.
So Todd, as we wind up, you talked a lot about forage quality and, you know, if it's less than desirable or if it's desirable, and we're matching up something based on some supplementation based on that forage quality. But we can't really guess at forage quality. You know, most people can anyway. And so how would you recommend that we really know what our forage quality is. I know you've seen assays, everything from what we might consider, as you say, sometimes tree bark, all the way to really good, nice, lush forage. So how would a producer go about knowing what his forage quality
Well,
is?
getting a good assay, having our forages tested, whether it's a whole plant pasture sample, or whether it's sampling our hay that we have, our hay supplies that we have, is very important for us. Anymore, our supplementation, the feed costs are expensive. We need to know a little bit more so we can balance these rations and put the best supplementation for the animal without doing a lot of overkill. So no, you cannot guess. All of us will be fooled greatly if we try to attempt the guessing method. So work with our livestock specialists to obtain a good representative sample of what we got, so we will know what our forage quality is, and we can most efficiently supplement that animal. So no, you can't guess. Best way to do it is to get an assay.
So as we wind up, let me thank you, Todd, for being with us today. I appreciate all the information that you've shared for our audience. I also want to once again thank Williams Farm and Forage for allowing us to be here on this beautiful day, on this beautiful farm with these great cows. We appreciate that very much. And also want to say to you, our viewing audience, if you have any questions, need any products to go along with your forages, check with your local farmers co-op. They can be of great assistance. Thank you for joining us today.